not only look at the colors, but then decide which ones are granulating, non-granulating, transparent. And I'm going to show you a couple of, I'm going to show you that really quickly. I'm going to show you that really quickly. There. I have to turn the volume off of Facebook. So I am looking on Facebook. Hello, Elisa. Last week I forgot that you could actually hear me on Facebook, and I was busy typing on Facebook while talking on Zoom. And it just occurred to me, well, everybody can hear. So welcome. It's good to have you today. Hello, Scott. So one thing I did and that you might find useful is I go to online. There's an Excel spreadsheet that has all the information about all of the colors. And I just cut and paste it, and I choose the colors I'm going to go over with you. It'll show me what the common pigment name is, what the color index name is. And this one I did by how I'm going to present them to you today. But I also, since the data is there, I sorted them by granulation, because many of you say, can I see granulating colors or non-granulating colors? Well, it's really easy to go through and sort by that. So you can choose what you want to see and how you want to see it. And then with the same data, with the same colors we're going to be looking at today, I also did it by transparency. So a lot of power within the Excel spreadsheet to be able to look at anything in any way you want to look at it. And I will add, there's a separate spreadsheet that has the CLab information. I'm going to integrate that so it's all on one spreadsheet so you can look at it any way that you want. Okay, so pretty powerful stuff for those of you that kind of want to take it to the next level beyond the spreadsheet or beyond the color chart. This is a way to kind of go beyond the color chart. Okay. Hello, Agnes. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Mark. I see Mark on Zoom. Hello, Carl. Okay. So let me keep this here with me so I can just talk to you as I do this. So I just picked out colors that might be of interest, no kind of particular order. We've talked about all the different families now. We've talked about the different colors. We've talked about color index. We've talked about the common names. So for those of you who've been with me since March or even January, by now, I think you're extremely good at that. You can look at a color chart and over a cup of coffee. You're able to decide what the color will behave like. I see behind Anna all of her colors and drawdowns and samples. That's quite nice. Okay. So I think the first one I'm going to show you is the amethyst. Amethyst is a primatech. It comes from the mineral amethyst, and you can tell it's a primatech because it has the P for primatech. The next one will be deep scarlet. Phthalos, phthalos are always the life of the party. They are just unbelievably strong. And last time I read, they're the most used pigment there is within commerce. So Anna, is that a new budding artist? Welcome. Yep. So quinacridone deep gold. We'll look at sepia. A brought out a duochrome. This is duochrome Violet Fantasy. If you watched Claudia, she does beautiful things with eyes, etc. with the luminescent colors. Paraline Scarlet. Paralines are also going to be very, very vibrant colors. The pyrroles, the paralines are all very vibrant colors, very strong colors. And this is going to be duochrome emerald. So let's look at those, and then we can talk about them too. Hello, Caroline. Hello, Elisa. And Stella. Okay, so let's start with the amethyst. So that's the amethyst. Let's see. Chalbini, hi John, do you have a spreadsheet file to share of the cost to buy a copy of your file, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel and original artist is compensated for work? Do you have a spreadsheet file to share of your cost to buy a copy of your file? I don't, okay. The spreadsheets are free. They're online and they're free. We don't charge for those. This is the deep scarlet. God, that's just a really pretty color. So the deep scarlet. I brought one of these little squirt bottles that Lauren was talking about, just to kind of wet out put some extra water in. The phthalos just are unbelievably strong. They're just so strong. So next to that, we're going to put the quinacridone. This is the quinacridone deep gold. Quinacridone deep gold with some phthalo in it. Boy. But there's the quinacridone deep gold. I get some phthalo in there too. It's a really pretty color, very vibrant color. This is sepia. I kind of like the sepias. I like the, I must say I really like the earth colors. So the next one is going to be a duochrome. What would you expect to see from the duochrome? So the duochrome is going to be a luminescent, and with the duochrome, it's going to have both refraction and reflection. That's why it's a duo, because when the light wave hits it, it acts in two ways. Where it's reflective, we would see it on white. Where it's refractive, we wouldn't necessarily. So let's kind of see what that looks like. And this is going to be the duochrome Violet Fantasy. And you kind of see it on the, See a little bit better. It's right here. If I move it, you can see there's the Violet Fantasy. So we kind of see the little bit of a greenish. That's because it's reflecting, and where it's highly transparent is because where it's refractive. It's kind of the magical of those luminescence and the duochromes in particular. The next is a paraline. So paralines, we would expect those to be unbelievably intense, very bright. And this is Paraline Scarlet. And if we're looking at Paraline Red, it's almost the color of fire engines. It's that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful red. But the Scarlet's very intense and very beautiful. It's kind of representative of this particular family. The pyrroles are quite intense. The Paralines. The pyrroles to me seem to be even brighter than the paralines. And this is another duochrome. This is called Duochrome Emerald. I'm going to change out this brush. It's Duochrome Emerald. I'm going to change it to this one. So the interesting thing, this is the Duochrome Violet Fantasy, and this is the Duochrome Emerald. So this one is going to be more refractive, which is why we can see kind of through it. We can see it if we move it around, but this one is much more reflective. Right? So sometimes within the same family, the duochromes, you can have one that's more reflective or one that's more refractive. If it was very, very refractive, that's the characteristic of the interference colors. So Carolyn says, these are some of Kandinsky's favorite colors. I love Kandinsky. He's just a really interesting artist. I love the abstracts. Hello, Angelica. Hola. Yeah, the phthalos are just unbelievably intense. So here in Washington, we're having a, maybe where you live as well, we're having a heat wave. We're having warnings because it's getting up into the 90s, which for many of you is not that hot, but for us, it's super, super hot. It's kind of interesting because not that many days ago it was raining. So I think that the translation is actually being done on Zoom right now for Spanish. So if you have questions and you're on Zoom, I can hear you. If you want to undo your mic, you can ask questions. Okay. So I wanted to show you, this is organic vermilion organic vermilion. I'm going to spray the paper here. And I'm going to take it off by the, it's a pretty color. I'm going to put it in wet. And that Giovanni's on right now uses the sticks. And I think some of you were asking him, as I remember, why do you like using the sticks? And one of his responses was because of control. He's able to take off the exact amount of paint that he wants to take off and use, which is not always the same when you're using out of a tube. So, because you can take off exactly what you want, to the level that you want it. And you're kind of super in control with the stick. Okay. And so I'm going to put down Rose Madder Permanent. We used to have Rose Madder Genuine, and Rose Madder Genuine is made from the rose madder plant. And so it is actually, because it's made from a plant, it's fugitive. It's actually a dye, and then it's goes through a process called being laked, and that's putting the dye over metal halide and binding it, and that causes a pigment. But it's still fugitive. This is permanent because it's made up of more than one light fast pigment. So it's going to be Hansa Yellow Medium, Burnt Sienna. I kind of like, I really enjoy the siennas and the umbers. This is Lunar Blue. I know many of you like the lunars. So Lisa says, Elisa says, am I the only one that keeps on calling it Madder Rose? I think we all know what you mean when you say that, so that's just fine. So quinacridone rose, quinacridone red, and violet are all the same pigment.
Excuse me, we have a question.
Okay.
Does this first red, do they paint it on other things other than fire truck?
Can
Say your words again.
what was that?
The first red, do they paint it on other things than the fire truck?
Oh, so many of we call them synthetic pigments. They're made in the laboratory because they're absolutely perfect. They use them they were made for the automobile industry, because that's a very, very big business who has huge amounts of chemists that work for like Ford and Dodge and BMW, and they're constantly creating new pigments and new colors. And then what we're really able to do in the art world, because we're such a small, very small industry, is we're able to use what these other big corporations have created to then present them to the artists. So the artists then have really beautiful colors and things they can use to express their visions. So it goes across multiple chains. It can be for autos, it can be for equipment, all types of things. Good question. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the Hansa Yellow. I'm sure artists, almost every one of you have a Hansa. This is the Hansa Yellow Medium. Super, super useful color. And this is going to be the burnt sienna. Burnt sienna. This is the lunar blue. And the lunar blues are really high granulating. It's a high granulating color. So you can see really quickly how fast it granulates. I know what you meant, Stella. But I thought Handa was pretty interesting. This is the quinacridone rose. And we've talked about the quinacridones. Quinacridone just means it's 5 rings. So it's 5 rings. And it's where the alpha and beta particles go on this synthetic pigment that makes the quin rose, the quin red, and the violet all different. This is another quinacridone. This is the quinacridone sienna. So just so I let you all know, tomorrow, Jansen Chow will be with me. Jansen not only does beautiful watercolors, but he also does oils. So if you have questions on oils, water-soluble oils, watercolor, he goes across all mediums. And I know he'll answer any questions that you might have. This is going to be burgundy yellow ochre. Burgundy yellow ochre. Burgundy yellow ochre.
Why do they call it burgundy, John?
You know, I will find it out for you. I'm sure there's a history behind it. But let me find that out.
Curious.
No one's ever asked me
Thank
that
you.
before. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know? Barbara, do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I was just going to ask the same thing if it had a reddish tint to it that I couldn't see, but it doesn't seem to.
No, but I will find that out.
That's serpentine?
This is serpentine.
Oh my
Yes.
God, one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a beautiful color. It's a beautiful color. So it comes from Tasmania. You know, when you ask most people, myself included, show me a show me an image of Australia, everyone leaves out poor Tasmania, which is actually quite a beautiful place. And I met with a miner that mines this, and it was just beautiful. My shoes
They
were
have
all
it in the
green when I
American
was done.
South. They have it in the American Southwest too. I have a Navajo necklace that's made from serpentine.
Oh, very awesome. Yeah, a lot of minerals, like Barbara's saying, minerals can be found in many places. It can be indigenous to many places. And there's just some places that have huge amounts versus small amounts. California has blue apatite, but it just doesn't
I
have a
love that
lot of
color
blue
too.
apatite. Yeah. Okay, let me clean this out. So as artists, do you have a stable palette, or does your palette change over time? Um, so Scott's from Northern California, Scott Stevenson. He's a sales rep for Daniel Smith in California. And he teaches lots of classes. He's a really good instructor. Um, he says in California it's more of a green. The blue apatite's more of a green blue. Carolyn says, my palette is stable, but class group palettes change as we explore different techniques and subjects. And that makes a lot of sense. I used to talk to Dan about his palette, and it would change depending on what he was doing or where he was, because the Southwest is different from, for example, Minnesota in kind of what you see. I've also heard that many times all over the world where I travel is I'm asked, well, what colors are the most popular, etc. And I think, like many things, we tend to look and see the world from what's around us. Okay, this is going to be manganese blue. It's a pretty color. And then quinacridone sienna.
May I ask Barbara, she said she really likes serpentine. What her favorite use of that is? I'm very green challenged, so I'm having a really tough time with my greens. My favorite green is Daniel Smith's undersea green. But that's not great for all applications, obviously. So I just wondered, you're muted.
Barbara, you're muted.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
There we go.
Thank you. Those colors, undersea is one that I always have duplicates on hand because they were hard to get during the pandemic, as was serpentine. So, it's fear of running out. And green apatite is one of my favorites. I do a lot of landscapes. We're here by the ocean. We have a lot of seas, but there's a lot, the green is just very useful. I start on my watercolors with the light green and then I'll go in with the undersea later. But, those are really my favorites. I mean, I love Perylene green too, but people say, well, why don't you mix your own greens? And I said, because you can, I get so much, why should I want to have all these beautiful colors? It's just a wonderful color, the serpentine, and it's very granular and it's full of surprises. There's yellow in it. I've seen blue.
Would you use it for leaves and gardens?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Thank you.
But you need the darks too. So,
Right.
but it's just a very useful green. I like the crayon too.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So Scott says, green apatite is my favorite green. Lots of options in tone values. And Carolyn uses the Primatech colors in her classes. This keeps the granulating colors from the non-granulating. And Elisa likes your glasses, Barbara. Okay, so here we go. This is manganese blue. Manganese blue. I think we're just, yeah, this is. I need some more water. This is Payne's blue gray. And I'm going to add some even more water to that. That's Payne's blue gray. And this is going to be Alvaro, so Alvaro Castanet, his fresco. Alvaro's fresco gray. So his cool gray. I find my camera, it tries to dull out the blues. It is. Scott says the Payne's blue gray is so powerful. It's very powerful.
May I ask another question?
Yes.
I'm finding it's harder to find real manganese blue, and the one that we have is made from pigment blue 15, which is a phthalo. Is it harder to access the manganese anymore?
So ours, I probably said manganese blue. I should have said manganese blue U is what I'm using. So this is not manganese. It's manganese blue U. So thank you for pointing that out. It's hard to get it. It's hard to get it and it's hard to get it to the same specification all the time. So it's a difficult pigment. It's kind of similar to, for us anyway, the rose madder. It was hard to have it hit spec every time. Okay. So the Italian Venetian red, we've looked at this one before.
Is that white paper that you're using?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Looking very gray on my screen for some reason.
It's the Stonehenge.
Okay. Thanks.
It's not a bright white, but it's certainly a white. Probably a little bit off white, but not much. But yes, I can see it on my screen too. Some programs allow you to put a spider on your monitor to do color to calibrate. I've not seen that within the Zoom or the Facebook. Can you tell me the light facet of walnut ink? So walnut ink is a 1. So it will last quite a long time. But that's indirect sunlight. Indirect being one word, not in direct sunlight, indirect sunlight. And I'll send you, Carolyn, do you want anybody else that wants it? I'll send you the spec information on it. It'll be later on today. Okay, so let's start with Venetian red. It's hard to believe it's almost the end of several months away, but boy, this year has gone by quick. Giovanni, who's online now, Letiza, Angela, they were all in Fabriano, and it was nice to see people, because normally we'd be in Fabriano. It was nice to see them all in Fabriano. This is fired gold ochre. This one was Venetian. This is Venetian red. This is fired gold ochre. Lunar violet. So lunar violet, we should expect it to be highly granulating. Oh, I still have some of that. And it granulates. How can I show that to you? It granulates really quickly. This is Joseph's Warm. So Joseph's Vuvik. And sure I must apologize to him because I know I'm not pronouncing his last name correctly. So Joseph has three different ones. He has a warm, a cool, and a neutral. And this is the warm. I'll try a different camera as well. This is the Lunar Red Rock. Lunar Red Rock. So again, we'd expect it to be granulating. And this is black tourmaline. Black tourmaline is a Primatech. Back to a different brush. Do this brush. Yeah, if I move the camera, it gets much brighter. And move away, so it's trying to calibrate it. So I don't know how to. I will figure that out. Okay, this is French ochre. This one's a very pretty color, transparent pyrrole orange. Okay. So Carolyn asked, would you consider putting out Joseph's grays in a stick set? I will talk to marketing about that. From manufacturing side, I love to make stuff. But then it has to go to marketing. So French ochre. And this color is just a fun color. I don't know how you would use it. But this is the transparent pyrrole orange. That's a color that really says, I'm here. So Scott says this one's great for color florals. So this is going to be, another water. This is going to be a duochrome. This is Autumn Mystery. That's the name of it. Let me show you what it looks like. So that's transparent pale orange right there, but this is the Autumn Mystery. You can kind of see the mica. So that's the Autumn Mystery. So these are kind of, let's see if I can get that brighter. You can see the red. When I do this, I can see the red inside of it. I'll just do 3 as well. I only have 3 colors left. Okay. Phthalo turquoise and Queen Gold. We saw Queen Gold deep. This is Queen Gold. Phthalo turquoise is the only phthalo without a metal.
Can you say that again? Phthalo turquoise is the only.
This phthalo turquoise here is the only phthalo that doesn't have a metal inside of it as part of the molecular chain.
Oh, okay.
They learned how to do it without having a metal. So quinacridone gold. I think, believe it or not, that was 33 colors. So I will get information on the burgundy yellow ochre. And let me see if there's any other questions. And I'll get back to you, Caroline. Okay. So this is a pretty color. This is Imperial Purple. It's a strong color. It looks blue, but it's purple in front of me. That's just the camera, whatever, it doesn't really kind of like blues for some reason. I don't know how to present that to you, but it's quite purple here. And these are the sticks. I brought some sticks too. Let's wet this out. And this is the stick of Imperial Purple. And I can either that's the Imperial Purple and stick. And this is the Moon Glow. This is Moon Glow as a stick. That's off the end of the brush. Or I could just take it off the end of the stick. Or you can even take it to a pencil sharpener if you want to do it that way. And then this one by far would be the, yes, so Scott says it's anthraquinoid red inside of the Moon Glow. So the Moon Glow is anthraquinoid red, viridian, and ultramarine blue. And then Shadow Violet, the sister of this color, is transparent pale orange, ultramarine blue, and viridian. This is the phthalo. Phthalo's they're just unbelievable how powerful they are. So, what is a stick format? So they look like a crayon, but they're not a crayon. There's no wax inside of them. That's why they don't go inside of the depressions of the paper. Wax would do that. So they're more kind of a pen in your hand, if you will. I think Giovanni and even Claudia, who use the sticks, you know, about how they like the control of using the stick and putting the paint. Giovanni, this is way better than me. So it's kind of
good Lord, John.
You do that way more flowing than I do that, Giovanni. But yeah. Move this over so we have collision here. There we go. I mean, you can just Let's see, Lisa says, to add excitement to life, I remove all the labels from my stick, so using them is like watercolor roulette. Oh, that's cute. I like that. I can't imagine your hands are kind of like mine then, Lisa. They just get all over my hands and all over the table.
Perfect, Joe, perfect.
Okay, so with that, let me flip this back up again. Thank you, Anna's children. Thank you for joining today. Thank you, everybody. Giovanni, Eliza, Angela, Mark, Elisa, Scott, Joanne. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. I'll quickly show you what we did. So just see some of the colors. Try to have this stay still, because when they dry out, a little bit different as they dry, which is kind of cool. So we made it through. This was our duochrome right here. This was our other duochrome. I will find out the answer for the naming of this particular pigment, the burgundy. So quite a few colors in quite a few ways. Okay. I just broke my camera. I'll hold it as I talk to you. How's that? I think I just used it too much and now it's kaput. So thank you so much for being with me, everyone. I appreciate it. What was the last color? The last color that we looked at was the quinacridone gold. Oh, actually, the last colors that we looked at, the sticks, this was the phthalo right here. This is the moon glow. And these were the stick imperial purple, and this was the tube imperial purple. And this particular phthalo was the, I believe it's the green shade. Yes, it's the green shade. This is the green shade. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being with me. You make, thank you for waving. You make this go so quickly and so well. Tomorrow again, we'll be joined and we'll be seeing the watercolors. Jensen's a phenomenal artist. He loves answering questions. So please, you have the ability to join me tomorrow. With that, thank you for being with me today, everybody. Bye-bye.